even if you don't have a Hadoop technology, even if you don't know anything on the Hadoop technology, you can still be a Hadoop developer. And this product can work on any kind of ecosystem, whether you are using any commercial on-prem Hadoop distribution like Cloudera or Hortonworks, or if your company wants to move towards cloud, whether it's EMR or an HD inside, you will see our product work seamlessly. And you don't have to do any kind of change in your code or your mapping, and it will work seamlessly in any distribution. So it is definitely a future-proof. So what it lets you do is this whole, because of big data management is built on the whole interface where you are using those mappings and transformations. So anybody who know already how to do ETL development, especially Power Center guys, all of you guys are now Hadoop developers. So even though you don't know anything about Spark or Hadoop, since you know how to code in Informatica using Power Center skill set, you guys are already trained developers on Hadoop. So that is the power which we will give to our user base who have already invested a lot in learning Informatica skills. And with that, it also gives you productivity. So if you are writing some code on Hadoop, or if you are writing any Spark code or MapReduce code, it takes a lot of effort to tune that code. But with using Informatica and using a BDM, you can do all of these. You can do all the productivity is definitely going to improve. Okay, so we have been very agile in terms of big BDM releases. So as you see in our release cadence, right, starting from last year, from this year, we do multiple releases of BDM. So you will see us releasing at least 3 to 4 releases in a year. And that is because of the pace at which our big data world or the technology itself is moving. So you will see us releasing mostly 3 to 4 releases in a year. So for example, last year in 2017, we released this 10.2, which is our latest release right now, sometime in Q3. And right now, already in 2018, we are working on our next major release, which is our 10.2.1 release, which is planned to come out in Q2 timeframe, early Q2. So, so this whole release cadence will help you to be more adaptive to a big data technology. And today, what I'll tell you is, I'll tell you more about the different things we have done on our 10.2 release, which is our latest release right now in BDM. Okay, am I still audible? I see some comments in the chat that the audio is not working. Can you guys please type in the chat window to make sure that I'm audible? Awesome. Great, thank you. Thank you for the feedback. All right, so in terms of the innovation we have done so far, right, so before we even go to the 10.2, this is a quick recap of the different things we have done in BDM starting from 10.0. So we have, in 10.0, we launched dynamic mapping or dynamic schemas concept, right? So what it let you do is it will let you create any kind of a mapping or a job, and it will let you instead of creating hundreds and thousands of similar mapping, you can just create one template and it will work for hundreds and thousands of mapping. So if you have a repeatable pattern which can be put it in a template, you can do that using dynamic schema. And the best thing about dynamic schema is that if you have any kind of change in your sources or your schema, you don't have to go and change your template. It is self-adjusting and it will work based on the schema which is changing, right? So this was a very powerful feature which we developed in our product thinking about big data kind of use cases. In 10.0, we also released our engine Informatica Blaze, which is our Informatica's own engine, which is running on top of Hadoop platform. So it will help you to do distributed processing. And then from 10.1 update 1, which was sometime in 2016, we started supporting Amazon and Azure ecosystem. In 10.1, we started Spark because we heard our customers are asking that, hey, although you support Blaze engine, which is our own engine, you should also support open source engine. So Informatica embraced Spark completely starting 10.1, which was almost a year and a half back. And since then, we have been doing multiple releases to harden both Spark and Blaze functionality, as well as the cloud ecosystem. So in 10.2, especially, we have done our release goal was to focus into these three areas: ease of use, platform, and cloud. So there are multiple features we have done to fix to do the for these different themes. So when we talk about ease of use, so the one big thing you will see us doing in 10.2 is there is zero footprint on a Hadoop cluster. So today, if you are using our big data management, like in 10.11, HF1, or any of our previous releases of Informatica BDM, today we ask you to install a small footprint of Informatica binaries in all the Hadoop node. So that was, so we got a feedback from you all saying that, hey, that model is not working. Sometimes we hear pushback from the admins that they don't want to install and manage this third-party application on a Hadoop cluster. So starting 10.2, we will not have any footprint on a Hadoop cluster. So it will have a zero footprint. And the only thing in terms of the installation you have to do is just install our server and our client and nothing on a Hadoop cluster. So all of these things will be completely automated. So this will definitely help you to get up and running on 10.2 fairly quickly compared to our previous release. So not just zero footprint on Hadoop. The other feedback we got from our customers is even once we install a product, it's very difficult to do configuration on a product, right? So as you know, Hadoop technology itself is a very complicated technology, right? Sometimes you will have Kerberos, or you will have different security mechanism in your Hadoop cluster. So what we have done was, in our previous releases, we used to ask you to change few things on .xml file. So you have to go to the XML file, and then you have to go and change those XML files. So what we do is, starting 10.2 onwards, you are no longer needed to do any kind of changes on our site.xml file on a Hadoop cluster, on Informatica side. So what we have done is, in 10.2, we have launched this new concept called cluster configuration object. So what it will do is it will connect to Ambari or Cloudera Manager, and it will get all the required client config which is needed for BDM automatically. And then during this wizard itself, we will ask you even to if you want Informatica BDM to create connections. So in that way, you will see us that using the UI and using this automated way of importing the client config, you are no longer needed to do any kind of manual change or a manual overrides. So this is all will help you to get started with BDM. And today in my demo, I will give you a demo of this feature itself. So these are the different things we have done, the high-level things we have done on ease of use. Now let me come to the platform enhancement. So our main goal for the platform enhancement is to make sure that our product can scale up to the enterprise requirements. And there are multiple things we are doing in this area. The very first thing is on Power Center reuse enhancement. So those of you who don't know, we also support a feature within BDM where we allow you to take your Power Center workflows or mappings from Power Center into BDM. So that will help you to get quickly started with the BDM. As a part of this import mechanism, the very first thing we like you to do is to run our Power Center reuse report. So what this report does is it will scan your current Power Center repository, and it will tell you the things which you can import and which you cannot import. So we have done some enhancement to make sure that those PC reuse report is advanced, like you will get a better the report gives meaningful results to you. And then starting this release, we also allow you to import workflows into BDM. So before this release, we only used to allow importing mappings, the Power Center mappings into BDM. But starting 10.2 release, now we will even support importing workflows. So this means that you will have more flexibility, and there will be, if you have multiple workflows within Power Center, which you want to move into BDM, it will be a very easy way for you to just do it using this import wizard. So this will definitely help you if you have a use case of moving from Power Center or moving some mappings from Power Center into big data world using BDM. The other thing we have done is to improve our data integration service. So this is a service which we use to orchestrate the jobs onto Hadoop cluster. And in previous releases, we have seen some requests from our customers where they were running thousands of concurrent jobs using the same DIS. So what we have done in this release is to improve a lot on concurrency and ability to run parallel jobs. So we have seen in our internal benchmark that because of the improvements we have done on the DIS service, we can now run 6 times more concurrent jobs than what we used to run in our previous releases. So it will definitely help you if you have a use case where you want to run multiple concurrent jobs at the same time. This release will definitely be a great help. The other improvements we have done in terms of concurrency is to also harden our Blaze and Hive and Spark engine. So all this concurrency improvement is applicable to all these engines as well. And we also introduced a concept of queuing in DIS. So in our previous releases, if you are running multiple jobs, and if there are no resources on your DIS hardware, we used to simply reject those jobs, or those jobs used to go and time out, or it used to give a memory error. But now with 10.2, we have introduced a localized queue. So this means that even though even if there are some hardware constraints, we will still queue those requests, and we will wait when we will have resources to manage those jobs. So this will also help in kind of stability, and it will help you to run concurrent mappings at the same time. The other big thing we have done for the platform side is also allow our customers to do bulk change of engines. So as you move from our previous releases from 10.1.1 or before to 10.2, you will see that most of our customers will like to move to either Blaze or a Spark engine. And with this feature, which we have introduced in 10.2, you will have a way to bulk change all the engine at the same time. So say if you have thousands of mappings who are all running on MapReduce today, and you want automated way of moving all of them into Blaze, you can use this functionality which we have introduced in 10.2. So it will help you to bulk change the engine from one engine to the other engine instead of doing it manually through the UI. So these are the different features we have done on the platform side. So now let me take a moment to tell you more about our Spark enhancement. So in 10.2, we have added these transformations, which you see on the left-hand side in 10.2. So all these transformations are now running on Spark. A quick note on the last transformation, update strategy for Hive. So update strategy on Hive is a very key feature many of our customers are requested us to support on Spark. So, and the key thing about this is that today if you look at open source Spark, they don't support Hive and Hive Acid. But using Informatica, we actually have done enhancement on top of Spark to support some of these use cases which are asked by our customers. So, as I'll cover that in my next slide, but you will see Informatica not just embracing Spark, but also enhancing Spark to solve the DI use cases on the big data side. So we have added all these transformations, and there were already multiple transformations in 10.1.1 are already tracked. So so with this, you will see us supporting all the DI transformation on Spark starting 10.2. So this is what I was talking about. In 10.2, Informatica is using Spark 2.1, so which is one of the latest Spark version present right now. And the best thing here is that we are using all the latest and greatest which comes from open source, whether it's tungsten execution or catalyst optimizer or sort merge join. So all of these functionality which comes from open source, which helps Spark to be more optimum. We are definitely leveraging all of these in BDM. So, and not only that, as I said in my previous slide, we are also enriching Spark 2.1. And we are doing the enrichment in multiple ways. One of the ways is to enrich connectivity. So there are multiple sources like Scoop, HBase. We have added a Spark support. If we are using open source Spark, they will not run, right now it is not an out-of-box support to run Scoop and HBase on Spark, but using Informatica, you can do that. We also have done better security support. We also added some DI functionality, as I was giving you an example of update strategy, which is a very unique functionality which we have added on Spark, which is very hard to do. You'll find it very hard to get it from open source Spark. The other big thing we have done on Spark is also help take Spark to solve our parsing or our semi-structure, our parsing use case. So this was another feedback we got from our customer base where they said, today, using Informatica BDM, if you have to go and parse any kind of a semi-structured file, whether it's JSON, Avro, and Parquet, today we ask you to write and use our DT and B2B transformation, which sometimes is not performant and it's not easy to use. So starting 10.2, we are launching a very new concept called H-type in our product. So what this means is that we will be able to take any kind of semi-structured file and then it will be translated into complex data type within our product itself, whether it's arrays or structs. And then using our regular DI transformations like expressions and aggregator, you will be able to parse these semi-structured files and extract whatever element you want, or you can even take the relational objects and then create hierarchies. So in the hierarchy world, we call it R to H and H to R, relational to hierarchy and hierarchy to relational. All of these things can be supported using this H-type functionality. And this whole thing can run on Spark. So today in my demo, I will even give you a demo of this. So this is a game-changing technology for solving any kind of parsing use case. And you will immediately see a big performance enhancement once you start using H-type. So that was the thing we did in arrays, and we also support struct in H-type, and we will cover that in our demo. And this is another big thing we have done in terms of enriching Spark, right? This is about supporting stateful variables. So those of you who have already used Power Center are familiar with this concept of stateful variables, right? Where you are comparing your variable from your previous rows. So, and it was very hard to support such kind of use cases because we are in a distributed world and it's very hard to keep track of your previous rows. But in 10.2, we have added stateful variable support in our product. So this means that even if you have a use case where you want to compare your current row versus previous row, or you want to support like kind of windowing in batch, you will be able to do that using 10.2 and Spark. So this will also help to take the Power Center mappings, which are using stateful variables. You can recode those mappings into this concept of using windowing function and leak and lag function from Spark. So this is also a big thing we have done on a Spark engine in 10.2. So what it helps? So with all these enhancements we have done using Catalyst Optimizer and Spark 2.1, you will see the result. So this is a result in our labs we have seen. and that comparing to our previous release to this release, we see almost 2x improvement in terms of performance when it comes to Spark 2.1. And this is another chart which we have done in terms of showing you the scalability at which our Spark engine is performing. So we have carried out some performance tests where we have taken a Spark job and we ran that Spark job across multiple different data volume, and we have seen that across 100 terabyte of data that the Spark engine is linearly performing. So when we say Spark is performing, we are not just saying it looking at only the marketing slides. We have done really some good internal tests to make sure that the Spark is ready for your next generation DI use cases. Okay, so that was a section where we covered more about Spark. Now let's focus on what are we doing on how can you, if you have a use case where you want to take you want to move to cloud, let's see how big data management can help you in that journey. So you already know that Informatica BDM in our previous releases always used to support all the on-prem distribution, whether it's Cloudera, Hortonworks, MapR, or IBM Big Insight. We also support all the evolving cloud distribution, whether it's Amazon EMR or it's Azure SD Insight. So no matter whether you are an on-prem customer or you are in this journey of moving from on-prem to cloud, Informatica BDM can help you in that journey itself. So the same code or the same mapping which you have developed in Cloudera, the same mapping can now run on Azure or on EMR without any change. So not only that, we have also done many other features in our product to support this cloud journey. So this is an example of one of the use case we see many of our customers are using when they use Amazon ecosystem. So what we see mostly the customers are doing in Amazon is they kind of build the data lake use case in Amazon, where they will take some sources which are sitting on-premise or on cloud, and then they want to move those sources into Amazon S3, which is the object layer, right? And then they use Amazon EMR or any kind of compute mechanism to compute the job, and this is where BDM will also help in providing all the functionality which it knows very well, whether it's profiling, parsing, and preparing, and then they load the data back to S3 and Redshift. So this is a very powerful reference architecture, and you will see that if you are moving to cloud, you will see that your company will be also implementing something very similar. And what Informatica has done is we have also written some very good reference architecture papers to help you if you have a similar reference, if you have a similar pattern, you can refer to our doc, which I will share in my reference page. So I'll share the link. You can refer that doc, which tells you the step-by-step process of solving or implementing this reference architecture when it comes to the Amazon cloud. Similarly, if you are an Azure shop and you want to use Azure ecosystem, we also have written the reference architecture on the Azure side as well. So as you see, it is very similar compared to what I showed you in my previous slide. The only difference here will be instead of using S3 as your object store, we see most of the customers pick either ADLS, which is Azure Data Lake Store, or their blob storage as their object store. And then they use, instead of EMR, we see mostly customers are going with Azure SD Insight, where they will take that data coming from ADLS, they will use BDM to prepare the data, and then the prepared data goes back to SQL Data Warehouse for analytics, or it can be it will be written back to ADLS for archival or for historical reasons. So this is another pattern. Similar to Amazon, we see many of our customers are taking on Azure side. And again, we have written some articles around this. So if you are in this journey of moving to cloud, whether it's Amazon or Azure, you can always refer to our reference architecture documents to learn more about how to use BDM in such a pattern. And we also help you to get quickly started with Amazon. If you want to use BDM, so you will see BDM is already available in Amazon Marketplace or in Amazon Quick Start. So if you go and just search Informatica Big Data Management in Amazon Marketplace or Quick Start, you will see it listed there. And if you click on that, it will install it. It's a very simple one-click installation where it will take our product and it will install it in an Amazon EC2 environment. And during that installation itself, we can also install EMR. So you will see all of that. This whole product can run on Amazon Big Data Management. The Big Data Management can run on Amazon ecosystem without any, with the simple one click. And we have a similar thing in Azure itself. So if you are an Azure customer, you want to get started with BDM, you can also use our one-click install, which is listed on the Azure ecosystem, Azure Marketplace as well. So these are a few ways for you to get started with BDM on cloud, but it doesn't mean that that's the only way for you to deploy our product on cloud. You can always take the standard approach of starting an EC2 instance or an Azure VM, and you can install our product just like how you do it in on-prem. So if you need more customization or more control, you can always take our standard deployment method to deploy a product. Otherwise, these are the two automated ways where you can support deploying BDM on cloud. So one part was deployment, right? Now the next part is once we deploy and once we know that, hey, these are my compute engine, the next big question is, can Informatica Big Data Management support those cloud connectors? So if you are on Azure, you will be looking for these kind of connectivity, whether it's ADLS, Blob, or SQL Server, or SQL DB, or SQL Data Warehouse, and all of these connectors are supported out of the box in our Big Data Management product. So so when we say we support Azure ecosystem, it doesn't mean that we are just taking our on-prem product and putting it on Azure. We are also supporting all these connectors to make sure that we help you to solve this data lake use case which we see on Azure ecosystem. Similarly, mostly in Amazon, we not only support EMR and other Hadoop distribution, we can also support the different connectivity which comes in Amazon ecosystem, whether it's Redshift, S3, Aurora. All of these connectors are completely supported by BDM. So if you want to know the complete list of connectors supported by us, you can also refer to our user documentation where we will list all the connectors which we support in different Hadoop distribution and ecosystem as well. And this is more about the cloud connectors I just talked about. So in 10.2, we also added many enhancement of these connectors. Especially, for example, for Amazon ecosystem, we added Spark and Blaze support for these connectors. We also did some other enhancement on S3 and Redshift connectors. And then also on Azure side, we also added a support of supporting Hive on ADLS or Hive on Blob or WASB. And we also introduced this new ADLS connector in 10.2. So a big release with so many features on cloud, as you see in this slide. And now when it comes to the relational connectivity, we also support Scoop, and we have done a lot of enhancement in 10.2, especially from the Scoop side. So some of the enhancements are listed over here where we can support now JDBC completely in Scoop. In terms of specialized driver, we have done a lot of enhancement with Teradata connector for Hadoop or TDCH. So this is a specialized driver for Scoop, which will help you to move data from Teradata into Hadoop. So this is completely supported. And then we also we are also tracking many new enhancements on Scoop, and some of them are listed over here. That we from our next releases, you will see us going into this direction as we come to the Scoop connectors. Okay. So with all of these things, now I think you might have got an idea of how our 10.2 release is. So just to recap, a lot of enhancement we have done on cloud side, where we have launched our BDM on Amazon and Azure. We have done a lot of platform enhancement, like improving the concurrency of our product, and then the ease of use. So the ease of use is how you can easily deploy BDM without any installation on a Hadoop cluster, and our cluster configuration object, which helps you to take and configure the product on the Hadoop side. So a big feature-rich release for 10.2, which will help you to go it will help you not just on the deployment, but also to start any new project on 10.2. So I'll highly encourage all of you to look into our, to download our 10.2 release guide, and also look into our user guide and plan for an upgrade if you are planning for an upgrade from our previous releases. So that was a very feature-rich release we have, but it doesn't mean that that's the only release we are working on, right? So as you see in our release roadmap, we will be doing a lot of work on BDM, and we will be releasing very rapidly. So 10.2.1 is a release which our product team is working on right now, and we believe that this release is going to change a lot of things we are doing on the Hadoop side. So what I'm going to do today is I'll also give you a sneak preview of the different things you will see us supporting in 10.2.1. And remember, this release is coming in Q2 of this year. So those of you who are coming in Informatica World, so we have Informatica World coming up, which is our annual user conference in May 22nd at Las Vegas. So if you are coming for that conference, you will see us that we will be demoing a lot on 10.2.1 features, and you will see us giving you even the deep dives and the hands-on labs on 10.2.1. So please make sure to come for that event, where you will learn a lot about our release as well. All right, so what we have done on 10.2.1. So quick note on the heading of this slide, right? So one of the very important thing in this release you should know is that 10.2.1, which is our Q2 release, this release is very much focused for big data only release. So far, in 10.2 or in our previous releases, we see always you will see that Informatica was launching all the products, whether it's big data product or non-big data product, coming at the same time. So that means 10.2, you will see Power Center 10.2, you will see IDQ 10.2. But starting 10.2.1, Informatica has decided to actually release it, like have a release train only for big data, and then have a different release train for Power Center and for our other products like IDQ and Power Center. So the only reason why we have done this kind of different release cadence for big data and non-big data releases is just to help our customers in upgrade. Because many a times we see a scenario where a customer comes and say that, hey, I don't want to upgrade my Power Center as frequently as I want to upgrade our big data environment. So, and in order to tackle those kind of use cases or those kind of problems from our customers, we are now coming up with this new release model where we will be launching more rapid releases for big data side, and then the Power Center can continue to be on 10.2 train itself. So this 10.2.1 release, which we are launching, that is a very big data only release, which is going to come up. And like in 10.2.1, our plan is our themes is exactly the same what it was in 10.2, right? So we will be focusing a lot on ease of use, on platform, and also on cloud side. So now let's see, now let me just quickly give you a quick glimpse of different things we will be doing in our 10.2.1 release. So in 10.2.1 release, in terms of ease of use, a very big thing we are doing is zero client integration. So today, if you have to install, if you are using Informatica Developer Tool, you have to go and install Kerberos ticket, and there are multiple config related changes you need to do on the Informatica Developer Tool side. So in going in the spirit of making our product very easy to use, we are now starting 10.2.1 release. We are taking that restriction away from, like we are improving on that restriction as well. So starting 10.2.1 release, you will see us having 0 client configuration. So there will be, you will be not needed to do any kind of changes on your developer tool for security or any kind of config changes. The other big thing we are doing is introducing this new service called mass ingestion service. So this is also going to help our customers to move any kind of relational data if they are sitting on their on-prem onto Hadoop as a lake or S3 or ADLS, right? So today, if you have like hundreds and thousands of tables and you want to move that into Hadoop and also on cloud, today you have to write some mappings or dynamic mapping templates for doing that. But starting 10.2.1, this will be completely driven from a wizard. So there will be a new UI for this. It will be a super easy UI where we will allow you to select your sources and target, and we will and that everything will be done automatically. So this is a feature which I'm personally very interested in demoing and getting feedback from you all. So this is another big thing we are doing in 10.2.1. The other areas are we are improving our developers by adding more monitoring statistics, and then the last one is more about machine learning. So CLAIRE is an Informatica technology or a concept of adding machine learning in whatever we are doing. So we are also adding machine learning in BDM, where we are integrating big data management with Informatica structured discovery. So this means that if you have any kind of semi-structured or even unstructured file, whether it's XML or HL7 or anything, you can use Informatica structured discovery to go and parse and create models, and then you can operationalize that within BDM. So it is a machine learning technology where we will be based on the file or the model file or the sample file you give us, and we will be able to understand what this file is and what kind of elements you want to extract, and that is something we can put in a machine learning way. So this will be also coming in 10.2.1, another big feature which we are launching in 10.2.1. On the platform side, a lot of work is going on in making it robust. Security, high availability, resiliency, all of these things we are working on. On Spark, there are a few things which we still were missing in 10.2, especially supporting our data quality transformation, masking. So all of these things will be added in 10.2.1. So with that, in 10.2.1, Spark will be almost comparable to our MapReduce engine or Blaze engine. So we will be doing a lot more on Spark than you will see us doing with any other engine. And the other big thing we are doing is introducing Python transformation. So that will help you to do any kind of data science work. So if you have any models which you want to operationalize, that will be supported. We are adding Cassandra in our product, and also Snowflake. Sorry, I don't have it in my slide, but Snowflake and Cassandra will be available in our product. And then there will be a lot of work on the cloud side, especially to support ephemeral EMR on our product. So that means if you have a use case where you want to spin up and spin down the cluster on demand, we will be able to do that. So with that, let me quickly give you a demo of our product. So let me log into my screen. So the very first demo I'm going to show you is our, so this is our 10.2 environment, and I'm going to show you a demo of our cluster configuration object. So now if you go into our admin console, and if you go to our admin, under connection tab, you will see a new thing called cluster configuration object. So if you come and say new here, so what it will do is it will ask you a few details like which Hadoop distribution you are. So say if you say I'm from Cloudera Hadoop distribution, and I want to import all the client config from Cloudera distribution into this BDM thing. So we will ask you to give us a detail on what's your Cloudera manager username and password. So once you give us the Cloudera details, like here, we will also ask you that if you want us to create a connection for you. So in our previous releases, all of these things were manual, and you have to go and change a lot of things in the XML file. But starting this release, you will see us supporting all of these things using this single click. So if I click here and finish, you will see us supporting many. So what we have done is we have created this cluster configuration object demo2, and now we have added all the client config which we need, which is required from our product point of view. So at this level here, if you want to change anything, you can go ahead and you can change anything. And if something is changed in your Hadoop cluster, you can also have an ability to refresh it from your cluster configuration. So that means that you don't have to run this multiple times. So if suppose tomorrow you go and change your port number or anything, you can refresh this cluster configuration object. And the other big thing it is doing is it is also creating connections for you. So for example, it has already created hive_demo2 or HBase_demo2 or HDFS_demo2, right? So all these connections are automatically created, and they are all pointing to this same cluster configuration object. So that means that all the common properties which it wants to read from this CCO is already linked over here. So this is a great enhancement, and when we got the early feedback from many of our customers, they all love this feature. So when you move to 10.2, please, you're welcome to try this. And what I'm showing you right now is 10.2. This is not on 10.1.1. So this is a 10.2 product. So now the next feature I'm going to show you is our H-type enhancement, right? So this was another feature where I was talking about that we are now supporting Spark and supporting this H2R and R2H use case. So what I've taken in this use case is I've taken these two relational files, and so this is my relational data from orders and line table, and then I'm kind of creating an hierarchy out of this. So my use case is that I want to take these two relational data and I want to create a JSON file out of it. So that is what we are doing here. So as you see now, if you go to our aggregator transformation, you will see, and we are trying to group both the sources in using order key. Now if I go to the port size, you will see us that this is a new function we started supporting from 10.2, which is called collect list on struct. So this is what we are doing. So it is trying to create a struct data type based on the two relational sources. And then it is trying to join, and then it is trying to write everything into this complex file writer, which is nothing but a JSON. And it is super easy to create this mapping. It is, if you think that it is very complicated to create this mapping, it is not. So the only thing you have to do is say select these ports, and once you right click and go to the hierarchy conversion, there is automatically a button called create a struct port. So if you click on this port, we automatically create this mapping for you. So it is super easy for you to use this mapping. And if you want to run this mapping, as you see, we have already enabled Spark, and on a Hadoop side, we are also enabling the Hadoop execution plan. So if I click on this show execution plan, it will show you the Spark code which we have translated this entire mapping to. So this is the Spark code which we have used to run this mapping on Spark, and this will help you once you run this mapping. It will give you a result like this, which is now a JSON file with multiple hierarchy. So, this is one use case where we are showing you how you can take relational sources and then create hierarchy. And in my second mapping, I'm showing you how you can take that same relational source I have used here, the same JSON file which we have created here, and then use some flattening technology to take elements out of those JSON file and put it on a Hive table. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a JSON file, I'm parsing it, and then I'm storing it on a JSON file. Again, it is super easy to do that. The only way, the easiest way for you to create this job is you will now see us doing something like arrays and maps and struct. So the only thing you have to do is you have to right click and go to hierarchy, and then you can just say extract from a complex port. So once you click on this option, you will see us creating this mapping automatically for you. So we'll be adding this normalizer transformation, where what we are doing is we are just trying to normalize this output, normalize the array you have. And then this is my expression transformation, where I have this dot operator, where I'm taking the individual element out of this struct. So the first, so starting 10.2 with H type, you can now support dot operators and others to extract hierarchy out of this complex files. So it's very easy to run this mapping. You can just right click like you are doing in any in our previous releases. You can just right click and run the mapping. So when you run the mapping, it will what it is doing is it is actually translating this entire job into Spark, and then it is running it on a Hadoop cluster. So if you want, you can always go to our monitoring tab to check how the mapping is running. So for example, I can come here and I can click on this job, and as you see, this job is now running. So let's see a job which we have ran already in our previous just before this. So once this job is completed, you will see us giving you this monitoring page. So once you come to this, click on this monitoring page, it will take you to this YARN page, which is coming from a Hadoop cluster itself. So that's all I have for demo. So what I showed you, just to summarize, was I showed you how easy for us to create a connection in big data management using our CCO, where we are importing client config directly from Cloudera distribution. So you don't have to go and change anything on a .xml file. And then I also showed you how you can take relational files or relational data and create hierarchy, whether it's JSON or Avro or Parquet. And then also showed you how you can use Spark to take that hierarchical data, JSON data, and extract it and put it on a Hive or any kind of relational format. So these are the two things we have done in 10.2, and that's what I showed you in my demo. Okay. So moving on, the other announcement I want to make is we also launched the Informatica Data Lake solution on AWS. So this is a very recent announcement we have done. So you can see more details in this link below. So what it is doing is it is helping our customers to solve the data lake solution using our quick start. So it will install, if you are using this quick start, it will install Informatica Big Data Management on your Amazon ecosystem, along with Informatica Data Catalog product, the EDC product. So using Informatica BDM and EDC, which will help you to catalog and discover data, we can help to solve your data lake solution on Amazon Cloud. So please go and check it out if you are interested in this. And here are some resources. So if you want to learn more on how Informatica runs on different ecosystems, please feel free to look into these videos. And this is the reference architecture document I was talking about in my previous slides, where I said we have written a lot of reference architecture on the Amazon ecosystem. So with that, I hope this session was useful for you, and I'd like to thank you all. Before I open up on the Q&A, I'd like to thank you all for attending this session. And if you want to reach us, or if you want to talk to me directly or to our product team, please also look out for this community page, which is a new community page we have launched, which is directly monitored by our product team. So if you have any questions, or if you have anything which you want to learn from our product, feel free to check this community page. So with that, let me look into some of the questions which you guys have sent us in the WebEx. So let me start by taking few questions. So the first question is for Spark version. So the first question is which version of Spark Informatica BDM is supporting in 10.2. So as I shown in my slide, we are taking all the latest version of Spark. So we will be supporting Spark 2.1 in our 10.2 release, and our plan is to move to Spark 2.2, which is the latest right now in our 10.1 release, which is coming out by end of April. Okay, so the other question is can we support different version of Power Center objects into BDM? If for the Power Center reuse report and for the import mechanism, absolutely. So if you go, and maybe I can even show you that if you go to our Informatica developer tool over here, and if you click on the import mechanism here and you come in and say I want to import from, say, Power Center, you will see us supporting starting right from Power Center 10.1 till Power Center 10.2. So even though you are in Big Data Management 10.2, you can even connect to the older Power Center release and get those mapping into BDM. Okay, so the next question. Can you comment on security, especially the use of Kerberos on Informatica BDM? Yes, so it's a very good question. So the question is about what kind of security mechanism we support in our product. So we already support Kerberos very well in our product. So if you have a Hadoop cluster which is already Kerberized, we can support that. Not only Kerberos, we can also support Sentry or Ranger or any kind of encryption functionality you will have on the product side. The next question is on Cloudera Altus. So somebody has asked this question as is Informatica is planning to support Cloudera Altus, which is the new managed service from Cloudera. So absolutely. So as you see in my, as you have seen in my resource slide, that we already have put in many collaterals on supporting Cloudera Altus. So we absolutely support it, and our plan is to put that officially in our product in our 10.1 release, which is coming out by end of April. So you will see us supporting Cloudera Altus by 10.1. All right, the next question is the dynamic mapping functionality in 10.2. So yes, we will be supporting dynamic mapping in 10.2. All the functionality which is available today on dynamic mapping, whether it's ability for you to read from any kind of flat files or Hive, or ability to create the Hive table automatically, all of these things will be supported in 10.2. And one of the other things we are doing as part of 10.1, which is our new release coming in April, is that we are also creating a mass ingestion on top of dynamic mapping. So that means that we will have a way of supporting mass ingestion on top of dynamic mapping. So for you, it will be a very easy way of just selecting your sources and target and then writing everything into Hadoop or Hive and HDFS. The other big question is Informatica 10.2 already support Cloudera 5.13, which is the latest version from Cloudera? Yes, we absolutely support 5.13, not just 5.13, we also support the previous versions of Cloudera as well. So we already support 5.9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So we support all these versions from Cloudera in Informatica Big Data Management 10.2. The other questions, when will Informatica BDM ADLS connector will be available for Azure? So as I said in my slide, that we already support Informatica BDM with ADLS. So ADLS starting 10.2 is already supported. Okay, so the next question is data quality on Spark. When can we support data quality on Spark? So as you've seen in my 10.1 deck, that we are already supporting, we already have plans to support data quality on Spark. So data quality today already runs on our Blaze engine, and starting 10.2, we will be supporting Spark on data quality. So the other question is, can BDM connect to different Hadoop cluster? So absolutely. So if you look at our PAM, our product availability matrix, so as long as those Hadoop versions are supported, we actually recommend you to create a different DIS for different Hadoop cluster. And those Hadoop cluster, as long as those Hadoop, so that different Hadoop versions are supported in our PAM, and you are creating different DIS for that, you can already you can see us connecting, you can see us supporting that configuration. And we have already written an article for that. So if you go to our community website, you will see, you will learn more about that. The other question is sequence generator on Spark. So this was another topic I covered in my presentation, where I said in 10.2, sequence generator on Spark is not available, but 10.2.1, which is our April release, you will see us supporting sequence gen on Spark. Okay, so I think we are almost there towards the end of the session. So I once again thank you all for your time for attending this event. So please take a moment to give us a feedback in terms of how the session was, and also if you have any other topics in your mind which you want us to cover. So please give us feedback, what kind of topic you want to hear and whether this session was useful. So I'd love to hear from you. So thank you all for spending this 1 hour with me, and we will send you the recording and the presentation slides very soon. Thank you.